Do you want more money in your pocket? Well, don't let your kids play Fortnite. Well, listen up, because negotiation expert Fotini Iconomopoulos is here with tips on how to get a raise. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Okay, when is the right time to ask for a raise?
There's never a bad time to ask for a raise, but I would say don't wait until right before your evaluation. There's an annual time that most people have conversations about salaries, but if you wait too long, the decision's already going to be made. So leading up to that might be a better time versus waiting for that, annual personal evaluation time.
We always say that words matter and words have power. What words should we be using when we're trying to convince somebody to give us more money?
I'd say in general, there's 4 magic words in negotiation to keep it collaborative. It's if, you, then I. If you can do this thing for me, then I can do this thing for you. If you can give me some extra time off, then I'd be happy to work occasional weekends. There's lots of ways to play with it using that collaborative language.
Quid pro quo, Clarice. Okay, do men and women negotiate differently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Women tend
to... It's a stark difference, isn't it?
Yeah, women tend to avoid it. Only 7% of women years ago were found in a study to actually even attempt their first salary negotiation. So women avoid it far more. They are much more collaborative negotiators, which can actually work to your advantage. So there's no need to be scared of doing it. The question is, will you step up and do it and have that conversation?
We always say that the 2 conversations that people avoid just in general in life are conversations about politics and conversations about money. You don't really talk about those things. Those are supposed to be private. But you say talking about your salary with your colleagues, it shouldn't be verboten.
It is so important to do, because how do you know what you should be getting paid if you don't know what others around you are doing? It is a bit taboo because people are going to be uncomfortable with it. So you always want to be thinking about, how do I make this an easier conversation? So rather than saying, hey, Ben, how much money do you make? It's, Ben, what do you think somebody in my position or with my experience level should be making in this world or in this universe?
I'm guessing also sort of in the world that we're living in, where more and more information is readily available, this is sort of part and parcel of that advancement, sort of where we're going as a society. People need to know these sorts of things.
Transparency is so important. So you can get some information from Glassdoor and websites like that.
What's Glassdoor?
It's one of the websites where you can look up and go, what are people getting paid in my industry or this level or this company even? But people are the best resource for information.
And something like that must be very important, because you might be walking around thinking that you are being paid what you're worth, and then you could find out that you have been severely undervalued, not just over the course of one contract, but over the course of an entire career.
Yeah, especially if you're only talking to people like you. So if I'm only speaking to other women who are already getting underpaid and they're my only source of information, I'm probably not asking for enough. So you always want to be thinking about, what are the various types of people that I can be speaking to in the different parts of the industry as well.
What about sort of the tone that one goes into one of these meetings for? You could go in anxious, you could go in angry, for example, if you find out that you were undervalued. How best to approach it from a tonal standpoint?
So you want to think of negotiation of any kind as a process of discovery instead of an active battle. If you go in there banging your fist on the table, you're not going to get very far, particularly when you're talking about an employment relationship where you're going to have to deal with these people over and over again. So the key is to go in there as a collaborative discussion instead of a demanding, difficult personality.
Lastly, we only have a few seconds. What if you don't get the answer you want?
Tee up your next negotiation. So if they're not going to give you the raise, when do I get it? What are the milestones you need to see? When is the next time for us to have this discussion?
Put the onus on them. Put the responsibility on them.
And get that information you need to set up your next success.
Fotini, thank you so much. Really good advice.